Hello and welcome to Lights, Camera, Aggro, the podcast with two friends, one film and very little agreement. I'm Nicky and I've got flames on the side of my face.
And I'm Phil, and communism was just a red herring. This week it's Nicky's turn to share a movie she loves, and today she's brought the 1985 classic Clue.
We'll get to that in a bit, but first, what have you been up to?
Oh, well, I've been having a wonderful time.
Okay.
On my way here, I was listening to Classic FM at the movies and the Superman theme tune come on, and I thought, this is me, and it just prepared me ready for this podcast.
Superman, our most watched or listened to a podcast to date.
No, that would be The Sound of Music.
I'm mixing it up.
Yeah.
It's a film. Okay.
The Sound of Music, which was your choice. I thought I was bringing the popular ones to the podcast.
I know.
It did seem that we touched lucky with releasing it.
It was mad, yeah. So, I thought it was bizarre because it was the Sunday before we dropped it on the Wednesday. Sound of Music was on the telly, which, it was just a Sunday night. It wasn't like an Easter bank holiday or anything like that. And then I think it was because Dame Julie Andrews reached the big 9-0 in that week.
Congrats to her.
Congrats, but what absolute perfect timing that we definitely did not know.
But I've been focusing back on my YouTube channel because I've not done a lot of late, so I've really pushed that again. And
the YouTube channel's called
Toffees Are Us,
and it's for fans of
Everton
There
Football
we go.
Club.
Get it in.
And I've got a new job.
Oh.
Just a bit of a job, bit of a change, but yeah, so that's pushing forward.
All change?
Yeah. How about yourself?
Absolutely no change.
All right. So talk me this week then.
No, so here's what is good. So we're recording this the week before we're going to put it out. So This is very topical. I'm aware that there are later podcasts in this series where we've recorded them months ago. So there's no chronology to this. So what I'm about to say now is like recent news, but then in a few weeks you might hear me go about something completely different earlier on in the year. So it just makes no sense. I'm just highlighting it makes no sense. But yesterday I'd been editing my manuscript for my next book. And yesterday I got to the point where I thought, right, I've done it as much as I can on my own and I had to send it to the editor. So because I sent it to her, I now technically don't have to think about it for as long as she has it, which I'm hoping will be for weeks and weeks.
Christmas.
It might be days. Sometimes she's very quick. But I'm really very happy not to be thinking about it for a while because it's been a little bit in my head. So I went out for lunch today because that was felt like a nice thing to do on my first morning of not giving all my waking hours to this book. I feel quite full.
So I'll give you a bit of a shock. Today I went into Waterstones.
Oh my God. What?
Didn't buy anything, I just walked straight back out again. But I went in.
I don't think I've ever heard of you going to a bookshop, Phil.
I went and had a look at the music section, some of the history books that are up there for 80s bands that I like and stuff. I had a little look. There was some in there, but nothing that took me fancy, so just straight back out.
Well, it's a first step.
Yes. I didn't realise shops like this existed.
I love a bookshop.
So, before we start, remember this is going to be full of spoilers. If you haven't seen Clue, now's the time to pause the pod and then come back when you're done, and we'll be waiting. So, why did you choose Clue?
Clue is an interesting one. I don't remember when I first saw it. It's not one of those big kind of seminal moments of this amazing film that I, watched and remember it. No, I don't remember it at all. But I have seen it multiple times over the years. I was probably a teenager. I don't know. But it's one of those films now that if I've had a shit day and I feel like I just need to drown out all the nonsense and watch something escapist and silly and fun and something that will ultimately cheer me up, this is one of my go-tos. It is pure nonsense in all the good ways. What I like about it, and it's similar to Beetlejuice from last week, except Beetlejuice is a comedy that's very horror adjacent, and horror really isn't my bag. So I enjoyed the comedy of Beetlejuice last week, but the horror stuff is a bit much for me. Whereas I love a murder mystery, and since I was a kid, Poirot, Miss Marple, I love a Midsummer, all those kinds of things. I'm just drawn to those stories. So this is in that genre, but then they turn into a comedy farce as well. So it adds the oomph. I also enjoyed playing Cluedo as a kid. Didn't have it, but friends up the road when I was a little kid, neighbours had it. So I have played Cluedo as a child quite a few times.
So I will interrupt here. Is this the first film ever made from a board game, do we know?
According to IMDb trivia, yes.
Okay.
As always.
I know
who knows?
the only other one I know of is Battleship. That was made,
Battleships. Yeah, sorry. I
that
thought you were waiting
made,
to
that
say
was
something
made
else.
with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
He was not in it a lot. Rihanna, she's in it too. Well,
They had to have gridded paper coordinates.
Well, it did have coordinates of trying to shoot aliens.
Right, okay.
So I don't know where in the actual board game itself aliens come into it, but they changed it and got the littlest reference to being the game possible.
It's interesting. We'll talk about at the end about how much this was based on the board game. But like I said, I can watch it over and over. But I do worry a little bit, and it's like Beetlejuice last week again. I did say something along the lines of, I'm not sure this film bears over analysis, and I'd say that about Clue. The fun of this film for me is just letting it wash over you and just not overthinking it. And obviously now we are going to overthink it to death. I hope I've not put myself off it. But yeah, it's a fun film.
So for this podcast, this was my second time of watching it.
Okay.
My first time of watching it was, we tried to record it last week, but there was a huge power failure in the coffee shop. We had to cancel halfway through.
We did 10 minutes or something. We'd hardly begun.
And we had to re-record. So
you've watched it again for this?
So I watched it again for this week, yeah. So I've now officially seen it twice. I've owned it for probably about 2 or 3 years because it came part of a bundle pack that I bought on Apple TV.
Right.
Of 80s movies.
It's often one of those films that you see, like in a $2.99 this weekend sale. It's often quite cheap, which is harsh. But I think that's how I've ended up buying it.
Well, the thing is, I presume with a movie like this, it doesn't get big sales. It's made its money back in the day, and whatever profits they get off it now, they're selling it for $2.99. They're getting 1,000 sales or 10,000 sales. It's pure profit to them, so they don't mind.
It does have a cult following, but I don't think it did make a lot of money on its cinema release. I've got bits about that at the end, but but we'll see. We'll get around to that. Let's begin at the beginning. So we're told on screen that it's New England 1954, and it's a very rainy, drizzly, windy night. And Tim Curry, who I love.
Yeah, great Tim Curry.
He's Wadsworth the butler, and he arrives at a big Gothic mansion, dressed in a butler's outfit. He throws some bones to very angry dogs, and he lets himself in. Talk to me about your Tim Curry background. Where do you love him from? So, I don't think it's the same as me.
Yeah, so I before I even say where I got introduced to Tim Curry, you will be the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, the good end.
I think the first thing I would have seen him in was The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
is that a submarine film?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And I am planning on that at some point down the line. Right. Because I know how much you love submarine movies.
Yeah. More claustrophobia to sit through. Okay.
I see them in It, obviously, as the clown. Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
And several other little small parts. I've never really seen him be a star of his own movie in his own right, but he's always a bit part character, and he's always very good in what he does. A little bit like Stanley Tucci. Yeah, I've never seen Stanley Tucci be the main centre man in films that I've seen, but he's always a part of the film, and he always elevates that film wherever he's in.
So I think you just haven't seen the right films, but all I'm going to say are 2 words: Rocky Horror. Without Tim Curry, and in the starring role, I might add.
I've never seen it.
That would be a very different film. He is phenomenal in that film. I would say it was my sexual awakening, but that already happened. So not quite. But he
we won't go there in this part.
Incredibly beautiful and sexy and frightening, and just this beautiful creature. And he does it so well. And it does make me laugh, because that wasn't the first thing I'd ever seen him in. I saw that when I was about 16, 17. But I'd presumably seen Home Alone 2 by then. I'd seen him in The Worst Witch, which was a book.
I have seen that, yes.
And he was like the Grand Wizard or something. And he was very odd. He does odd so well, but beautifully odd. Anyway, so we come to Tim Curry from different avenues.
One of the things that, points out, he's really versatile as an actor.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah. So anyway, Tim Curry's turned up. He's Wadsworth the butler. He lets himself in, and we meet Yvette, who is the maid. She's dancing as she cleans. She is in what can only be described as a very non-practical outfit for household drudgery.
So I'd like to add to the podcast.
Yeah.
If I had to pick the film where there was a maiden of this description, you would have hounded me for this.
It's definitely of its time, this film. And well, it's first of all, obviously it's made in 85, but it's also meant to be 1954. So there are definitely dated ideas, and also some of the jokes I think you'd rewrite to be slightly less silly, like less bigoted, now. There is definitely more than a whiff of the Carry On film about Ebert the Maid. But that's where we are.
I was about to add then. It made it to Carry On. She was very bouncy.
I think you're quoting Roger Ebert there.
Yes.
When he put in a review of it, that's something like wonderfully bouncy, which makes me want to vomit, to be fair.
That's because we previously recorded this.
Yeah, because I'd already quoted it to you.
But I did notice when I watched it myself that the movements were just not natural movements. She was trying.
She's supposed to be sexy in it. She's meant to be sexy. She's not. I don't think there's any actual. She's not actually the maid. She's there playing a role because she's been paid to be there to be the maid. Do you know what I mean?
Obviously, but what my point is if I'd have brought this into a film of my choice, that would have been the first thing you picked up on.
Maybe. But this is, like I say, we have to give this some sort of context of when it was made and also when it was meant to be set. And yeah, it
just doesn't stand up well
now, doesn't it? It clangs. It stands out because you go, oh, really? But she's meant to be sexy. She's been a sexy woman. I'm talking about the characters, not the actress. So it's not playing cam. The character of Yvette is a role that somebody has been asked to play to be in the house on that night.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But the character as well.
Dressed in a sexy way rather than in a, I'm actually going to get some dusting done. She's not actually going to do that. Anyway, the guests start to arrive. And like I say, I love a Miss Marple or a Agatha Christie, and it's very much reminds me of And Then There Were None, that Agatha Christie story where it's a sort of I think it's an island of this big. Everyone's been invited to this island where they're all like marooned and stuck there, and one by one they start getting murdered. It's very classic,
So I will liken this to a little bit of Knives Out, the gothic,
that big old
house.
Yeah, I love it. Similar. I love this type of thing. So the guests arrive, and it is a really decent ensemble cast. So I'll briefly run through them, and then you can tell me who you knew, where you remember the people from. Martin Mull is Colonel Mustard. Madeline Kahn is Mrs. White. Eileen Brennan is Mrs.
Madeline
Peacock.
Kahn, I know her from Blazing Saddles.
Okay, now I know her from Nixon.
Lily von Stuck.
Okay, cool. And Martin Mull I knew from Roseanne. He played Roseanne's boss at the diner, so I remember that. Eileen Brennan is Mrs. Peacock, and she's been in loads of stuff.
Yes.
Private Benjamin.
Yes.
That's the only thing
it took me a while.
It's not just that.
When I watched it, I was like, where do I recognise it from? And it was you who told me she's off Private Benjamin. Yeah.
Then we've got Leslie Ann Warren as Miss Scarlett. And again, she's been in a ton of stuff. But what I know you've watched is she was the mum in Secretary. The mum of Maggie. I never know, is it Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal? But she played the mum who was like,
don't ask me to pronounce it with my pronunciation. Gyllenhaal or whatever.
Gyllenhaal.
I think she was like Gyllenhaal, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I don't know. Yeah. But you know what? It's fine.
We've probably murdered that name 3 or 4 times in the podcast now, which fits in with Clue.
And then we've got Christopher Lloyd as Professor Plum.
Yeah, now, the whole thing with Christopher Lloyd, dark hair, I just didn't see it.
And presumably this was what he looked like at the time. This was 1965, but what does blow my mind is it's the same year that Back to the Future came out.
Yeah, so I think he dyed his hair for this.
Do you think?
Yeah. Name any other role you see Christopher Lloyd from 1985, from playing the Doc, where he has dark hair.
He's supposed to look like Einstein, isn't he? He's supposed to look like the mad professor.
Yeah, but everything I've ever seen him in since then, he always has white hair.
I don't know. I feel like you've got to fact check that without, I don't know, you're talking confident about something that I don't know if you're right about. So.
Of course I'm right.
Classic Phil. But then
I am the film buff.
Oh God, don't start me. And then we've got Michael McKean, who's Mr. Green. And Michael McKean is, I would say, I've seen more things with him in than anyone else. So he's in all the Christopher Guest films. At the moment, he's in the remake or the sequel or whatever, Spinal Tap. So I've seen him doing promotional stuff for that.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him in much.
Saul, he's in, like I say, anything.
I've seen Better Call Saul, the first series.
He plays the brother. I said I haven't watched it, but he plays the brother, I think. Yeah. He had some sort of OCD thing going on. I might be getting this wrong because I didn't really watch it, but my partner did. Anyway, Michael McKean, brilliant. And I really like him. Like I say, Christopher Guest films, he's a staple, and I love all those films. So straight off, like I said, this is a film of its time. So, for example, being gay is a punchline, which, again, like it was with Chandler and Friends, it's so dated now. But Mr. Green is supposedly gay, and that's like the funny thing about him. All the women, and there are women who've been invited, plus the cook and Yvette, they're either complete and utter sex pots or they're complete and utter hags.
Yes.
No one is in between. And the sex pots get touched up and ogled, and the hags are ignored or ridiculed, and it's very binary. You know what I mean? This is not a subtle film, but I don't think at any point it's meant to be. It's not trying to be subtle. This is not a serious film. So I'm not holding it up as a paragon of equality. I'm just saying we have to take it all with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be taken seriously.
So some of the touch it up did remind me of a Carry On film.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure there was a bit where the maid was getting her bum felt as she was trying to do something, and it just felt just out of place.
All of it. Yeah. So none of these characters know why they have been invited, why they're there, who asked them to come. And there's a sense of creeping unease, and we can feel it, along with the music as well. It's all sort of, thunderclaps and, lightning, and it's all very eerie. And then a gong sounds, and so everyone is ushered into the dining room. Wadsworth is kind of leading the way. He's taking charge. So Mrs. Peacock starts talking a lot. She's got verbal diarrhea when she's nervous, and she's the wife of someone in Washington who's presumably a politician. And Mr. Green says he knows her husband from Washington too. Turns out Professor Plum works for a UN organisation. Colonel Mustard also lives in Washington, so does Miss Scarlett. And it turns out everyone is linked to the government.
Yes.
So it's all getting a bit like, ooh, mystery, what's happening? So then Mr. Body arrives. Because I think in the game, the person who dies is Mr. Body, isn't it?
I think so.
I think that's why he's called Mr. Body.
It's been a long time since
Well,
I
I
played
know.
through, though.
It's been a while.
It's probably changed so much.
Yeah.
It'll be digital now.
It's an AA character. But everyone's been waiting for him. So he walks in, he's surprised to see everybody. He doesn't really want to eat. He sits at the head of the table, but he says he's not the host. He didn't invite them. So then Wadsworth tells the group that he starts to explain everything. And this is where it all starts. It is silly. I'm not saying it's not. I feel like I keep on to do a disclaimer. Just don't overanalyze it. So Wadsworth tells the group that they're all being blackmailed. Mrs. Peacock tries to deny it very badly. She has lots of verbal diarrhea again, but no one else does, so this is clearly what's going on. There are some excellent gags in this. The script is littered with them. So I've got one here that I've noted down. Wadsworth says, Professor Plum, you were once a professor of psychiatry specialising in helping paranoid and homicidal lunatics suffering from delusions of grandeur. And he says, yes, but now I work for the United Nations. Wadsworth says, so your work has not changed. And it's classic. It's a setup. It's a setup and a punchline. But there's solid gags throughout this script. And I remember once being told, you need 3 gags a minute if you're going to do a comedy. A proper laugh out loud, regular comedy, 3 gags a minute, which is 3 gags on 1 page of script. And I do think this probably sticks to that. They don't all land.
No,
but,
no, definitely
that's what
don't all land.
the aim is there. So Wadsworth outlines what everyone is being blackmailed for. And it's, classic stuff. Professor Plum's been sleeping with his patients. Colonel Mustard's been having sexy times on camera because he seems quite stuffy and old-fashioned. So that's quite funny. Mrs. Peacock has taken bribes for a senator husband. Miss Scarlett runs an escort agency. And Mrs. Weiss has been accused of killing her husbands. And then, obviously, Mr. Green is gay. But what's interesting about that is it's 1954 and it's all about the era of the McCarthy witch hunts. So actually working for the government and being gay was a complete and utter thing you had to hide, which is rubbish and horrible. But that is, that was how it was in Washington at the time. I've watched dramas with a more serious slant about that. Do you ever watch Fellow Travellers?
No.
Oh my God, it was really good. I think you'd enjoy it. It's on, I want to say Paramount. And it's set in the 50s, but then you get flash forwards to the 80s as well. So it's like the 1950s stuff with McCarthyism in Washington with 2 people one was a journalist and one was an advisor to a politician. And then 1980s with the AIDS crisis going on, and it's these 2 people, and you follow them through their lives, which forwards and backwards. Anyway, nothing to do with this. Really good. if you want to look at some McCarthy,
maybe at some
sex
point
stuff. Yeah. Anyway, and then we have one of our first big reveals. Mr. Body is the blackmailer.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
He sits there grinning as Wadsworth drops the bombshell. So the guys try to rough him up and he gets a knee to the bollocks from Mrs. White. And Wadsworth says he's called the police and they'll be there in about 45 minutes. But Mr. Body's not having it. He has a better idea. He gives each person a box, a gift. And one by one they unwrap them. And everyone has been given a weapon. And these are the 6 weapons from Cluedo. The candlestick, the rope, the lead pipe, the wrench, the gun and the dagger. And Mr. Body says, look, if you tell the police that I've been blackmailing you, you'll all be exposed. So instead, we should kill Wadsworth. One of you can do it. No one would know. We'll turn the lights out and off you pop. So the lights go out. It's funny. It's proper comedy timing. There's a punch, there's a groan, there's a thud, there's a shot. Everything happens.
Ridiculous.
And then, well, it's a comedy. And then the lights go back on, and Mr. Body is on the floor, dead. So they all start going, I banged my toe and I shot the gun, and it was, everyone has a reason what happened, but they don't know who killed him. And Professor Plum pronounced him dead. So we're definitely within the genre of murder mystery, but now we start to merge into the genre of farce. What? Any thoughts on farce?
Not a lot. See, this is the thing. Like, it started out fairly serious, and then just, I think once the maid appeared, it just went more and more comical, and then it went
of a
vet, right? It just went more and more farcical as it went along.
Absolutely, and that is part of the joy of this film. And if you don't like farce, you will not find it joyful. But I find this just so daft, and it's all very, Basil Fawlty running about manically, and it's all very, I don't know what the farce is. One Man, Two Governors is the last thing I saw on stage that would be a farce, I guess. It's just lots of comic capers and darting about and doors closing and different rooms. Very funny. Everyone's arguing, people are dashing about, everyone's trying to explain what happened in the dark, no one's listening, there's a panic. They all wonder whether the wine is poisonous. I just think this is fun. All my troubles of my bad day are being eased because I'm just being taken away into nonsense. So then Wadsworth fesses up. He says he's the one that wrote the letters. His master plan was to avenge his wife's death. She was being blackmailed by Mr. Body for having socialist friends. Again, it's all very McCarthy era.
Yes, it is indeed.
It's light relief, although he mentions the House of Un-American Activities, which was obviously a real thing that was very bad. But I did read that Jonathan Lynn, who wrote this, along with John Landis, he actually did have friends who had been blacklisted by McCarthy. And he said he needed to, when he was writing the script, he had to write the film version of Cluedo, basically. And obviously, we should have already pointed out, it's called Clue in America, which is why that's called Clue. He had to write the film version of a board game. So he had to think of a reason why all these people would have aliases. And this was a way you could think of doing it, that they're all kind of hiding who they really are because of the McCarthy government stuff.
I like Reservoir Dogs. Mr. White, Mr. Pink, Mr. Green.
Oh, yeah, good point. Is that a farce?
No, not indeed.
So Wadsworth and his wife were forced to work for no pay. Then his wife died. Wadsworth's gathered everyone around who's been blackmailed so they can all confront Mr. Body, and then they can get the police. But who killed Mr. Body? Who knows? They've got 35 minutes before the police arrive. The only other person in the house, other than this gang, is the cook. So they all shout, "The cook!" And they all run off en masse with fast music.
A bit like Benny Hill.
Yes, it is. Now, I don't like Benny Hill.
I don't know if our American audience know who Benny Hill is.
Benny Hill was... I think he was big.
Was he?
I think so. I think maybe more so in America. Well, I don't know. I think he had his time here.
Yeah.
And people thought maybe he was a little bit sexist. But I think he found an audience.
Very, very...
That was horrible, yeah. I mean, I was a kid, so I don't really know, but yeah. Not for me, but the music is very reminiscent. So they rush into the kitchen to find the cook. They look around, think she must have gone, but then she falls out of the cupboard.
Yes.
She's dead, she's got a knife in the back. And again, everyone's at each other's throats, accusations and panic. So they carry the cook's body into the library. But then Mr. Body's body is gone.
Yeah.
They drop the cook, there's more confusion. Were you keeping up with it? That's my question.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, good. Oh, well, it's all very, fast-paced and
silly.
Silly. But then Mr. Body is alive. Did he kill the cook? And there's another great exchange. I've not written out many of these gags, but this genuinely makes me laugh my head off every time. Like, every time. Mrs. Peacock says to Ebert, "Is there a little girl's room in the hall?" And she says, "Oui, madame." And she goes, "No, I just want to powder my nose."
See, that is a good line.
It's a good gag. It's a solid gag. And so everyone's falling out again. There's more tension. Another doom-laden beat from the score. And Mr. Body's body falls out of the cupboard. He's covered in blood. He's defo dead now. So they're piling up the bodies. Wadsworth locks up the weapons, and he's just about to throw the key out the front door when a man appears. He's a motorist who's broken down, and he needs to use the phone. Everyone acts sus. So the motorist is sus. So they show him to a phone in a room without bodies and lock him in, which obviously makes him even more sus. No one knows what to do. Everyone's freaking out. So they make a plan. They'll split up into pairs. and they'll search the house. So they draw lots because no one trusts anybody.
Yeah, because you could be with the murderer or not with the murderer.
So we've got Mrs. White and Wadsworth together, Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet together, Yvette and Mr. Green together, and Professor Plum and Mrs. Peacock together. And they go off in their pairs. While they're all doing that, the viewer sees blacked gloved hands throw the embarrassing photos of Colonel Mustard into the fire, which Wadsworth had in an envelope, which we forgot to mention.
And I will point out, from the rest of this movie, I was looking to see if anyone was wearing black gloves at the time.
And I feel like you've taken this too seriously already.
This is a film podcast about films, so we have to look at all the details. I
don't think we need to worry. But yes, these black gloved hands, they start to... they open the weapons cupboard as well. We don't know who it is. It's a stranger or a hidden person. Meanwhile, the motorist is on the phone and he's telling someone that he's been locked up in the lounge and that one of the people in the house is his old boss. But then, he's hit over the head with a wrench.
Yeah.
And at this point, Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard stumble across a secret passage. They've been searching around and they find themselves following it and then falling into the lounge behind a painting that kind of swivels around. So they find the dead motorist and start screaming. Everyone comes running for the different parts of the house. The lounge door is locked from the outside. They can't get in. They can't get out. No one can get in. So Yvette goes and gets the gun from the weapons cupboard and shoots the lock off a few times. Bullets go all over the place.
Yeah. She's not the best shot.
Which is... I just think these things these are what fill my heart with joy. The chandelier rope gets shot at and it starts to kind of unravel and the chandelier swinging around in the ceiling. And just as Colonel Mustard says, I can't take any more scares. The chandelier crashes to the floor behind him. This is what I live for. It's making me feel like, the stress of my day is already disappearing when I watch this. Then the doorbell rings. A police officer has spotted the motorist's car and is checking if he's in the house. So he has to use the phone, which again causes panic about which room should they put him in because there's too many bodies everywhere. He ends up in the library. And just as he's about to use the phone, it rings. So he takes the call, and it is from J. Edgar Hoover, who's head of the FBI. So Wadsworth takes that call off him in private. The cop's really sus. He wants to look round. So Mr. Green gives him a very specific tour, avoiding certain places. But he has to go into the room with the corpses, which means that Mrs. White and Colonel Mustard have to pretend to be smooching with dead people, which is very Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes, very, very Weekend at Bernie's. I will add Weekend at Bernie's did it so much better.
Well, that's another film that's so silly that I don't mind watching it. Yeah, okay. It's also a bit Home Alone when Kevin has to pretend he's having a Christmas party with mannequins and stuff.
Much, much better.
So anyway, the cop's fine. He's like, yeah, nothing's going wrong, don't worry. Then we see the black gloved hands again. And this time they switch off the electricity at the mains and everything is plunged into darkness. And in the confusion, we see Yvette having a whispered conversation to someone we can't see. And she says that she's been recognised. And just as she says that, a noose is slipped over her neck and she is strangled.
Oh, poor Yvette.
Another body.
Costume.
Oh, goodness, yeah. I don't know how you fall.
Bouncily.
That's such a horrible word when you say it like that.
I'm using the review
of the
movie.
Roger Ebert should have known better than that. I think it was wonderfully bouncy was the phrase. Such a horrible phrase. Oh, stop it. It's so creepy. And then we get another ring of the doorbell. And this is one of my favourite bits. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. I am your singing telegram.
Oh, God, yeah.
I love that line. Do you know who that was?
No.
Jay Wheelblin from Rush Hour, of Rush Hour fame. She was in the Thingamabob, the band with Belinda Carlisle.
Oh,
she had that hit
the Go-Go's.
The Go-Go's, yeah. She had that hit in 1987, Rush Hour, or 88 maybe.
I was thinking Rush Hour, the film with Jackie Chan.
Absolutely
and
not that film. No, the song. You will know it when you hear it. It's great. Anyway, it's just a little bit of trivia. So, Wadsworth gets the lights on, the electricity's back, and the gang reassembles. So they find Yvette's body on the billiard table and the cop dead by the phone. And by this point, it's so mundane. They're like shrugging as they just walk into a room together and like, oh, there's another one. There's now been 6 murders. Someone says, this is getting serious.
And then David carries on. There's only going to be the murderer left.
Well, this is exactly the style of murder mystery, isn't it? So we're finally getting towards the denouement. Wadsworth tells them that he knows what happened. Wadsworth has figured it all out. So let's buckle up, because now it's going to get really frenzied.
Yes.
Basically, they reenact the entire film / evening so far.
Yes.
By running about saying, this is when you came here, this is when I said that, this is when we did that. Wadsworth is leading the sort of the recap. They're all running fast-paced, room to room, retracing everything we've seen so far. It is frantic.
So this, for me, is like if everybody in Knives Out took speed. It's basically that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think Tim Corey running in his butler outfit with his like knees high and him looking behind his shoulders, he's shouting what's going on, is hysterical. Physical comedy-wise, it's very funny. I can see you agreeing with me with that face.
Yes.
So Wadsworth tells the gang that what happened was the cook and Yvette were Mr. Body's accomplices, and it transpires that Mrs. White's husband had an affair with Yvette, Miss Scarlett employed Yvette, and Yvette had known Colonel Mustard in a sex worker capacity. So we're getting a lot of info thrown at the characters and us. Were you still keeping up?
Yep.
Oh, jolly good.
I'm a movie podcast. I'm not stupid.
I know, but you're not saying much, so I want you to just. I want your thoughts.
I'm letting this flow for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're gonna have to say a lot at the end, so it's not just my voice this podcast. And there's more revelations. Colonel Mustard was a war profiteer, and the stranded motorist who turned up at the door was his driver and recognised him. Miss Scarlett was bribing the cop so that he'd turn a blind eye to her escort activities, and the singing telegram girl was Professor Plum's patient who he had an affair with. We're all learning so much.
Yeah, but there's so many twists and turns. It's
comedically.
Yeah,
it's meant to be silly.
It's beyond meant to be silly. I think some of this.
It's meant to be. It's a farce.
I know, but it's beyond silly.
It's a piss take of a murder mystery. So during this sort of recap of the evening so far, the doorbell goes again, and it's a Christian evangelist who's turned up with leaflets.
Yeah.
Wadsworth shuts the door and carries on bringing everyone else up to speed. And so then we hear how it happened. So, Yvette murdered the cook and Mr. Body on the orders of her employer at the escort agency, and that was Miss Scarlett. Her plan was to sell everybody's secrets in Washington and make a ton of money. So she grabs the gun from her bag, tells Wadsworth he has no secrets, so she might as well shoot him. After a lot of discussion about how many bullets are left, 1 + 2 + 2 + 1,
yeah.
1 + 1 + 2 + 1. She's overpowered, and the police storm in. Christian Evangelist is the chief of police, and the last bullet shoots at the chandelier, and it falls to the ground just behind Colonel Mustard for a second time. The end. Or is it?
Yeah.
So, did you think that was the end?
Yes.
Be honest.
Kind of. And then it come up with, and this is what's really happened.
It said that was what could have happened, but how about this?
Yeah.
On a kind of what's the word, silent movie sort of title page, or Frasier subtitle. So another theory is then shared. It's not Miss Scarlett, it's Mrs. Peacock who killed everybody. She was trying to hide the fact she'd been taking bribes from foreign powers. This time it's her who has the gun in her bag, and she holds everyone up. She leaves the house as Wadsworth leads the group in a round of "For she's a jolly good fellow."
Yeah.
Which always
was this the ending where he goes, right, I've done my bit now, after he's just killed somebody, the FBI guy, and then goes, see you later, and walks out the door?
No, because
that was the other ending.
So this is where she leaves, and they all sing "For she's a jolly good fellow" and give her, I think, a clap or something, I don't know. Yeah. She goes to a car, but that's where she's apprehended by the Christian Evangelist / chief of police.
Yes.
And she's arrested. The drama's over, and so Wadsworth offers the rest of them fruit or dessert. And that's that ending.
Yeah.
And then we get the last title, but here's what really happened. And basically, apart from Mr. Green, everybody committed one murder. So Mrs. Peacock killed the cook with the dagger. Professor Plum killed Mr. Body with the candlestick. Colonel Mustard killed the motorist with the wrench. Miss Scarlett killed the cop with the lead pipe. Mrs. White killed Yvette with the rope. Wadsworth killed the singing telegram girl with the revolver.
Which this ending fits the board game because it's using all the parts and everybody's involved.
So Wadsworth tells everyone at gunpoint that he is Mr. Body. The other Mr. Body was his butler. Wadsworth intends to keep blackmailing them all. But at this point, our hero of the day is Mr. Green. He pulls out his gun and shoots Wadsworth dead. He tells them he's an FBI agent who's been investigating Wadsworth.
Now this is what I was just referencing.
Okay. The Christian Evangelist arrives at this police office and arrests everybody. And Green's last line is, "Okay, Chief, take him away. I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife."
Yeah, that's it. And then walks out the door. And it was just a bit, oh my God.
That is the end. So, any thoughts to share? Because you've been very quiet.
Lots.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I hated the multiple endings. I wanted the proper ending. I wanted the proper ending to what was going on. where they gave multiple endings, and it's like you choose which one fits your taste, whatever. That doesn't work for me, unfortunately.
You like a final ending?
I like a final ending.
But the last ending was the final ending. They said this is what really happened.
Yeah, but why put the other two endings in? It's
Well,
a bit like...
I can explain that to
It
you.
reminds me a little bit, and obviously this came a bit later, Wayne's World, where it ends and it goes, now we'll show you the real ending, and they go, doodle-doo, doodle-doo, and then
I've
it
not
comes
seen
like
Wayne's
that.
World.
Well, again, that'll come later on then. But just give us the proper ending. Don't do silly endings.
Can I explain to you?
I felt like the two endings that they put in and then went, now here's the real ending, were just trying to pad it out for time.
Okay, so
That's what it felt like to me.
So what happened with this film is that, and I don't know if this happened in the UK, because I've no idea about that, but in America, when this was released, different cinemas had different endings. So the film was shown with one ending, and there were three different versions.
Yeah.
So I think the idea was that people would love it so much that they would go and see it 3 times.
Right.
And I don't think that happened. So
Not many people have seen it one time.
I think, I think that was the plan, that it would be a kind of got to catch them all, Pokemon styling. Do you know what I mean? And actually, maybe it turned people off. But when it's on DVD, when it's shown now as a complete film, they put all 3 endings on.
Maybe.
So that's where that is coming from.
Okay, fair play with that. But for me, it started out really well, right?
Okay.
I like the setting. I knew it was going to be a comedy. You know, I wasn't going into it thinking, oh, this is going to be a serious.
With the elongated dog shit joke at the beginning probably gave you that clue.
No, but I knew it was a comedy anyway. But once Ebert turned up, it went downhill. Not because of her acting or anything like that. As I say, I'll try to phrase it a bit better.
Please don't use the word bouncy again, or
you've used it, not me.
I'll flip a table.
Her movement around was over-exaggerated to show off her curvaceous figure.
Yes.
That's better.
But that's the role, that she was there to be a sexy lady who enticed people with her sex worker ways.
Yeah. But it was...
And it's the 80s.
It was more carry-on, right?
Yeah.
And then it went downhill and got more and more farcical to the point of, like you say, with Tim Curry, Wadsworth, the running, where it was very high knee and stuff.
But I don't think it went downhill to be farcical. I think it was aiming to be farcical because it was a farce.
It started off more comedy and then turned into farce. It was as if the script was written and halfway through they went, we need to change this to try and be something different than it was. I feel like there was a good comedy in this, but it went down the wrong way. I think the cast was really good.
Yeah,
I thought the cast was excellent in it. I just felt like maybe some of the directorial vision went away. Because, like you say, how it started was completely different to how it got to.
You're saying how it started, and then you said, but it went downhill when Ebert came on the screen. She came on the screen after about 30 seconds.
No.
Do you like the first 30 seconds?
No, but the setup was really good. Yeah. The setup, and like you say, the comedy with the dogs was all fine, everything stuff. And then even the bit where all the characters got introduced was good. Even when Mr. Body got shot at first was really good. But then it just went too silly.
So
for me
embrace that silliness. I agree it's silly. It completely is, but I embrace that with this. And I think everyone who's on that screen knows what they need to do to make it peak silly. So you've got, Eileen Brennan playing the sort of the verbal diarrhea and the sort of the slightly batty older lady, and then you've got the Tim Curry. His running I could watch all day, just the way he sort of sprinted about the house.
It didn't fit the setting, right? So like you say, comedy, I'd love to watch a proper comedy whodunit movie, which I think would be really good. But this just was too over the top for me. As I say, it started out Carry On and then it descended into Benny Hill.
It definitely wasn't Benny Hill other than the music. Benny Hill was like...
The running, the way it was run.
It's a farce. That's a specific genre of comedy, you see. I think what they did well. Anyway, it doesn't matter because you don't have to watch it again. But I just think to criticise a farce for being farcical seems a bit off.
No, it's like, I like a good farce.
But Roger Ebert did give it a 2-star review in 1985. Now, I can't forgive him for his description of Killeen Camp, but anyway.
I think that 2 stars is about right. 2 stars out of 5.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst film I've ever seen, but it wasn't An average
It's
film.
got some moments of comedy are funny, most are not. The cast looks promising. Familiar faces include Martin Mull, Leslie Ann Warren and Madeline Kahn, and the wonderfully bouncy Colleen Camp. But the screenplay is so very thin that they spend most of their time looking frustrated, as if they'd just been cut off right before they were about to say something interesting. I don't agree with that, but that's fine. It's more jollier and camper than his review implies for me. It does have a big cult following.
Well, that's interesting because that's the first time you've read the full review. Because last time
that wasn't a full review. That was like
just a snippet of the full review. Where last week that was when the power cut.
Yeah.
He said there basically that as if they wanted the script to be a bit better, and I've just said that just before, so I feel.
It's interesting to talk about the script because there was a BuzzFeed article by Adam Vary and it's called The Crazy Story, How Clue Went from Forgotten Flop to Cult Triumph. And so this is on the show notes. People can look this up. It was really interesting. And it was Jonathan Lynn who wrote it along with John Landis. He talked about how challenging it was to create this script because basically he'd been given the brief of you need to write a script about Cluedo or Clue. And that is tricky because it's quite prescriptive. You've got 6 characters' names, you've got 6 rooms, and you've got 6 weapons. It's a difficult. I'm a writer. I don't know how I'd start to think about that. Without it being really formulaic. He sort of worked on this thing for ages, and he tried different writers. So Tom Stoppard got involved, Stephen Sondheim got involved, but they all kind of tried for a bit and then passed because they weren't able to do it. Eventually, John Landis came in. He's comedy, Tropes, Trading Places, stuff like that. And so him and Jonathan Lynn came up with this. So I do think it's really hard to be told, please write us a script about a board game. Hard. And like I said, Jonathan Lynn in this article talks about how he had to think of a reason why these people with aliases were all in one place. So he talks about the McCarthy era. But it's such a straitjacket of a brief to write.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'll and again I've referenced this film in this podcast, Knives Out. It's kind of the same thing. They don't much move from the house.
But he's not trying to. What's his name? Ryan Johnson isn't trying to do a ball game. He's got all of the. He's got a lot more freedom with that script.
You could have had the same freedom in this script.
But he had to incorporate 6 rooms, 6 weapons, and 6 characters that were already named. That's really hard.
I get that, but it still could have been done. In fact, Clue is about to be remade.
Is it?
Yes, Ryan Reynolds and
Spare me.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, I'm not rushing for that. I have to say, this is lovely as it is.
It's still in pre-stages of getting made.
I don't. Well, we'll see if that ever happens. I don't know. But its cult status has definitely grown over time. So then I've got this other article, tvtropes.org. And the quote is, although it bombed in theatres, Clue eventually became a cult classic. Fans regard it as a solid comedy with a mix of clever dialogue and slapstick, and the various solutions to the murders mostly hold up on repeat viewings. Apparently it was also later adapted into a stage version. I think that would be really good on stage.
See, this is the thing. I don't think, it doesn't work that well as a film, but I could see it working on stage quite well. I've seen a farce on stage many years ago with Kenneth Branagh in it, Harlequinade.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that
the Vatican play.
Yes, that works really well. So I could imagine that this would do better as a stage play than it does as a movie.
So did you have any best bits? Because my question is, what were your best bits? And I've got like 50, but what were yours? You've got to find one.
I like the opening, where Wordsworth comes and it's dark and it's all...
The setting.
The setting. I thought that was really good. I like the initial bit of when they all get together and we see them for the first time. The revelation of Mr. Body being the blackmailer was quite good as well.
But do you not enjoy, I know you didn't like the 3 endings, but do you not enjoy like the end of every murder mystery? There's a kind of everyone in the room and this is how it's done and it's Poirot or it's whoever, it's Wadsworth here.
Yes,
going through all of it.
I do like that, but it was ruined by having 3 endings for me.
Okay.
If there was one ending...
It would have just been one had you seen it at the cinema.
So that I would have liked that
1985 America.
I would have liked that then. But now you've explained to me how that happened, so maybe I'll appreciate that a little bit better.
Okay. So, I'm not going to ask you if you'd watch it again, because clearly...
Right. One of the good things about doing this podcast, and similar to last week with Beetlejuice, some films don't take well to being dissected like we have done with this one. Like, for you last week, you enjoyed Beetlejuice, but dissected it was a bit much. This is the same for me. Now, if I watch this again without actually having to think about what was going on, maybe I'd enjoy it a little bit more.
And would you recommend it to anyone else? Or would you just think,
Not
yeah,
at this moment.
it's had its time?
Not at this moment. Not at this moment. I think I would need to rewatch it again. Maybe in about 6 months, when it's nothing to do with the podcast. Just watch it and enjoy it for what it is, and then see how I feel about it then.
Well, let's hope we can win you round in 6 months. Okay, next week it is your turn to choose the film.
Yep, it's one of my faves and I cannot wait. I don't think you'll have seen this one.
No, well, okay, well, let's see what happens. And if people want more, where can they find you?
You can find me at Toffees Oros on YouTube or Phil Timon on TikTok.
And I'm at nickybond.com, or you can find me in the Lisa McAuliffe stories online.
Well, thanks for listening. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.